Hey guys, so welcome to the actual first episode of Truth Serum. It's really good to have you, and if you're listening to this, I appreciate it. So let's get started. So today's episode is called So I Turned 27, which is funny because I'm not actually 27 yet. Well, at the time of this recording, I'm recording on the 21st, so about 8 days from when I actually turned 27. So this is kind of why I started to do the whole podcast series, and especially this episode. Because around my birthday or, just after, I start to have these feelings of, like I haven't done enough in my life, or a feeling of not accomplishing as much as I actually wanted to do. Because you see, as a child, I thought and I really wanted to be married at 25 and have twins by 26, which is really funny because ain't no relationship over here. Single AF. But in all seriousness, I think times like this, especially, around birthdays or anniversaries, they start to get very reflective, and they start to weigh on you, or at least they weigh on me, especially when you see, friends getting married, and having kids, parents asking, the all-important question, when are you going to marry and make me a grandparent? Things like that. When you get the general societal pressure of what society thinks a happy and fulfilled 27-year-old should be. And worst of all, sometimes it's the also deadly lonely feeling, which I think is mostly BS, and I'm not dismissing that feeling at all. I just hope we get to talk about it in another podcast. And I'm pretty conscious we've only talked about relationships, and it's not just relationships that put pressure on people. I'm gonna call it a stage of life crisis, and it's part of the pressures that we face, or at least I face as a person living in the 21st century. And I will start that by saying, I am genuinely happy for people I think are doing well, and I honestly do not get jealous. I just get really appreciative of what they have, or where they're at. And I use that as a target for myself, to work harder, to see what's out there and go for it. But it causes me to be over-reflective and over-critical of myself. And I think that in itself can be extremely dangerous. So I talked about this earlier, and I said mostly around my birthday, which is, the only anniversary of note to me right now. I get this feeling of, oh, here we go again. Another year has gone by. What have I actually achieved in my last year? What have I done, that is of note? And does last year's possible mediocrity tell a foreseeable future of another year of just being mediocre? And apologies for being really blunt, but that's exactly what goes through my mind. A lot of people might think, thinking about your life as being mediocre is, such a difficult thing, but it is what I do, especially around this time. So back to the stage of life crisis. You see someone who is seemingly happy with themselves, who is seemingly comfortable in their own skin, in a possibly happy relationship, and someone who enjoys their job. And you see these and you start to get reflective, or at least I start to get reflective, and I start to get over-reflective and over-critical of myself, and totally forgets that this person has their own journey to go through. They've been on their own journey, and you don't know how long they've struggled to get to where they are. You don't know if they're actually truly happy. All you can see is what's on the outside, and you take that 5-10 minutes or even 2-3 seconds of that person's life, and I use it to judge my whole my whole existence. And that's extremely dangerous because, like I said, everyone has their own journey, and all you can see is all that is being shown, all that's put on display. So if you see someone who, is driving a really fancy car, or someone who is, in a really good job, or someone who is, in what they think is in a relationship that is with the love of their life, don't just take that for face value and use that to judge yourself. There's no harm using that as, a hallmark to mark things in the future that you want, or things that you want to attain or achieve. There's no harm in that, but the harm is looking at that like I do. I would look at that and I use that to judge my own life and say, well, I'm not happy, I'm not in a relationship, I'm not happy because I'm not in this particular level in my job, or I'm not happy because, I have so many spots on my face, or, things like that. And I think, it's definitely dangerous to do that. You see, the deal is, if I sift through my BS and I take off these black tinted glasses, have I accomplished a lot? Yes. Am I happy with where I am currently in life? Yes. Am I proud of the person I am becoming? Minus all my wants, have I actually attained all my needs right now? Yes. Could I be doing more? Of course, yes, I can. But there's this saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. And my new one is, not everyone can be Beyonce. And that's just the honest truth. Yes, you can be doing so much more, especially when you compare yourself to other people. But you're doing your best, or at least I hope you are. You're putting in the work and you're doing what you feel you could do right now. So there is no need to overpressure yourself. There is no need to compare all your existence to 5, 10 seconds or minutes of someone else's life, not knowing what they're going through, not knowing the journey that they've come through, not knowing where they were, What did they say again? The grass is always greener on the other side. Right now, I'll just like to do a shout out to Mom. Hey, Mom. But my mom has this thing she says, sometimes you need to have a meeting with yourself in the mirror. I know it sounds like an interesting concept, but it's pretty simple. You just need to go up to your mirror and talk to yourself. Because at the end of the day, you cannot lie to yourself. If there's any person in the world that you can be truthful to, it's yourself. And having that meeting in the mirror, it's not to condemn yourself. It's not to make yourself feel worse. It's not to go really hard on yourself, but it's to ask yourself these honest questions. Have I accomplished a lot? Am I happy with where I am in life? Could I be doing more? And most importantly, I think, is there something that I should be doing right now that I'm not doing? I think when you answer all these questions, you start to feel more stable and you start to have more of a sense of not accomplishment, but more of a sense of calmness, of stillness. And I think that's super important for us. So we've spent the last, 5 to 7 minutes talking about self-reflection and, some of the struggles we go through in terms of comparison. But to bring this podcast to a close, I do have 4 facts for you. The first one is, we all need to live for each day. So this is not an endorsement of you doing bad and crazy things, and you know what I mean. But but this is telling you to live each day to the max. Live for each day. What is it you want to accomplish today? What is it you've always wanted to do? Go out there and do it. Because you will never know what you enjoy. You will never get to feel that sense of accomplishment. You will never get to feel like you've lived your life unless you go out there and do it. The second one, and I know this is a bit, what's the word? I don't know if it's spiritual or some might refer to it as holistic, but it's we all need to be grateful for what we have. See, I've always lived my life thinking and knowing that life isn't promised and I am not entitled to anything. So everything I get, I try as much as possible to be grateful for. Because if it's not promised to me and I got it, then I need to be grateful. It's really such a weird feeling. I don't know if that's the word to quantify it, but it is a weird feeling. The fact that being grateful with what you have almost makes it feel fuller. Because when you're a little bit grateful, you're a little bit more satisfied. And being more satisfied makes you more calmer, makes you feel fuller, makes you feel more accomplished with whatever it is that you were just grateful for. The third one is a little bit heavy, and it is, we all need to protect what we have. Now, we've just come off talking about how we need to be grateful for what we have, and that life isn't promised, and you're not entitled to anything. So in that same sense, we need to protect what it is that we have. As my friend B says, don't play with your paper. If you have a good job that you like, that makes you money, show up to work on time. Put in your best effort. Do not look scruffy. Show that you're actually trying. Show that you're putting in some energy. Because then that leads to better opportunities, hopefully. That leads to more. When we talk about relationships, fight for your relationships. I know that we live in a generation of instant gratification, where everything is right now. And if, that person isn't fulfilling your instant need, they're almost discarded and on to the next. But if you love someone, or you remotely like someone and they remotely like you back, fight for that, protect it, cherish it, because it doesn't come often, it really doesn't. And finally, we all need to be present. I heard this a while ago and it's always stuck with me. And it says, you only have one life. Are you going to be a participant or a spectator? Now take a moment for that to sink in. Are you going to be a participant in your own life, or are you going to be a spectator? I know this is heavy, guys, but welcome to Truth Serum. Well, this has been a very deep and reflective episode, and not all the episodes are going to be like this, but I think sometimes it's important for us to address things that need to be addressed. And I hope I've been able to take you through the full spectrum, from a self-reflecting phase to a rebuilding phase. So as promised, I have some words of affirmation that have been written tailored to this episode, and I invite you to join me in saying them. Repeat after me. I see the work that is going on within me. I know I am on a journey, and it's not finished yet. My current situation is not my final destination. Be it good or bad, the best is yet to come. Life may not always be easy or fair, but I am never alone. Strength, courage, and wisdom reside within me. So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget the 4 facts we talked about. We all need to live for each day. We all need to be grateful for what we have. We all need to protect what we have. And we all need to be present in our lives. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at TruthSerumOfficial, and on Twitter it's TruthSerumOff. Until then, live your truth.